Hello everyone, welcome along to another video here on the channel. I'm Ash, you'll know me as Brommer18. Today we're continuing our FIFA 22 Custom Tactics series. This is the series where I'll show you how to recreate real tactics in FIFA 22. It's not a promise that you'll win every game, but it is a promise that they will be recreated as accurately and effectively as I possibly can, as much as the game will allow me. Now then, I put out a vote on my Patreon recently asking which tactic my lovely patrons would like to see next. We had an option of 4, and in the end Bruno Lage's Wolverhampton Wanderers system did win out by quite a comfortable margin. So today we are going to cover this system. On that note, if you haven't done so already, make sure to go and check out my Patreon. The link to that will be down below. You can get access to votes like that on top of exclusive tactics videos that I don't cover on the YouTube channel, only available to patrons, as well as my FIFA 22 custom tactics package, my player scouting report, which is coming very soon, and a whole range of other perks as well. On that note, with that being said, let's get into it. Right then, what do we have here? Well, we have a 5-3-2 formation. However, I'm also going to show you not just the 5-3-2 formation that they use sometimes, but also with the game plan here, I'll also show you when it changes to more of a 5-2-3 when they're playing really with kind of like half wingers, as opposed to the 2 forward men as well. So I'm going to show you both tactics today, but we'll start off with the 5-3-2. Now, let's talk about the formation. What are you going to want to set it to? Well, I went with the 3-5-2 in FIFA, and then I changed the wide midfielders to wing backs. And the reason why we want them at wing back rather than at wide midfielder, which is what we often do, it's about the starting position. When Wolves look to play out from the back and build up, these wing backs don't push up far at the pitch. They look to show for the ball and come shorter. They will only then push up further when Wolves advance the ball into the middle and then the final thirds as well. So when they're deeper in the pitch, as opposed to, lots of other attacking three-back systems like an Antonio Conte, for example, where you see the fullbacks or the wing-backs really pushed up, stretched out, looking to play, pin the opposition back and get on the last man. As opposed to that, this time these guys are coming a bit shorter and showing for it. So we stick them with the wing-backs. Other than that though, you've got 2 defensive midfielders and you've got an attacking mid, and then naturally you've got the 2 strikers as well. So what about the tactics then? Let's talk about this. Well, we know how good they are defensively, and what is it that they do in order to help them have such a very impressive defensive record? Well, defensive style is pressure on heavy touch, and this is actually a good one to use for defensive systems because it doesn't have to be dropped back. What you find with these is that often your team are going to drop back, but occasionally when the opposition start playing themselves into trouble, when there's an opportunity to win the ball, then that's when Wolves will pounce. There's a goal recently that I saw where Arsenal, they played against Arsenal, they're playing themselves into trouble. Gabriel goes to pass the ball back to the keeper, Jimenez puts pressure on him, and then Juan comes in, intercepts Gabriel's pass, takes it past Ramsdale and scores. And that's the sort of thing we're looking for. They're not extremely passive. They will press when they need to, but often they will then bed back in and sort of regain their defensive shape. And that's what you're looking for here with pressure on heavy touch. The defensive width is down to 28. It's going to be really compact. Didn't go all the way down to something like 10 though, because we are playing a 5-back with no wingers, which means that you're probably going to need a little bit of help on either side. However, they're still, sticking to those defensive principles, not letting the opposition play through them, and instead trying to force them around. The depth is down to 30, which is the lowest it can be on a mid block. Before, if you have a look at the description, if I change that to 29, then it becomes a low block. In this case, we're having a more passive, a more sort of aggressive mid block in this case, with it being on 30 as opposed to a low block. Again, you still want it to be that sort of mid-level shape of a block, because as I spoke about, you're occasionally going to be looking to press the opposition. So when you do that, you're going to want your team a little bit further up, so we don't have this all the way down to a low defensive block. So offensively then, what do we have? Build-up play is slow build-up. This is very important because it's going to mean that the players are going to drop into the box on goal kicks and show for the ball so that you can play it short to them and they can build out from there. What this 5-back system does with 2 defensive midfielders as well makes it very easy to, make it easier to retain possession in that defensive third, to try and build out from the back, because you've got more options. You're able to stretch out a bit more as well because of the fact that you've got got more players. So slow build up will enable you to do that. And then chance creation is possession as well. We've seen how much they like to sort of retain the ball, looking to work openings, again with the likes of Moutinho and Ruben Neves in the central areas. That's what you're going to be looking for. You want to try and play through them and let them sort of dictate the game, and get runners in and around them when they're getting the ball. So again, we have possession on chance creation. The width is up to 70, which is going to give you a wide attacking system, and that's going to allow you to stretch the play out more. As I just alluded to, defensively, it also plays a part in their offensive approach as well, in terms of they need to try and stretch a pitch because it's a narrow formation. They've only got wing backs, in which case they want to try and get as wide as possible to get those guys into good situations. On top of that, which we'll talk about more in the other tactic as well, in the other formation, you're also looking at trying to stretch the attackers out as well and get them into wide areas. Players in the box is up to 7, which is going to give you roughly 3 to 4 players. You're going to have the 2 forwards. You're probably going to have the attacking midfielder. And that's something I need to speak to you about as well very, very shortly. So I better not forget that. And maybe a wing back as well. Now, with the attacking midfielder, you'll notice I've got Dendoncker here, when really it's more of a, I guess, a flat central midfield free in the sense of Dendoncker will track back as well. But the thing is, why we have him at attacking midfield is because Dendoncker plays a role of more of a box-to-box midfielder, because he'll trap back, he'll get into the box, defensively he'll support the centre-backs, but then he'll also be one of the ones who gets into the box in attacking moves. The best way to replicate that, really, you want them at cam, because they're going to get further forward. At central midfield, it's harder to set those instructions. As we'll talk about in the player instructions, we are able to get into trap back and get into the box of crosses as well, which is very, very important. That's why if you're trying to recreate a box-to-box mid, you ideally like to go for an attacking midfielder unless there is another reason not to. So in terms of corners and free kicks, I've moved both these up to 4 to try and give you enough targets. Didn't really see a reason to change this in that case, but you should have enough players in the box to produce some sort of threat. Onto the player instructions then. We'll start off with the goalkeeper and work our way through. So first off, with Sarr, we have him on comms for crosses. It's going to help to relieve a lot of pressure from you in those crossing defensive situations. But with saving outside the box, he's on balanced. Because you're playing a lower block and a lower line, this means that you shouldn't have to require him to come out quite so often. And so as a result, we just have this on balanced. Not that sweeper keeper makes much of a difference anyway. With the 3 centre backs, we've kept this on normal. No need to change here. Obviously, probably important to note someone like Connor Cody as the central centre back is more of that ball playing defender, and he likes to sort of spring passes left, right, and centre. And the other 2 are sort of more there to protect him. So do just bear that in mind as well when you're sort of picking your personnel. With the 2 wing backs, they're both on the same instructions. We've got Ainori and Semedo here. We've got them on join the attack and overlap as well. As we spoke about, they're going to be creating the width. They're going to be getting forward when the ball progresses through the thirds, as opposed to when you play the ball out from a goalkeeper restarts, for example. They won't be too far at the pitch then. They will join the attack if and when they need to. Next up, we have the 2 defensive midfielders, and it's important that these are defensive midfielders and not central midfielders. Why? Because when you are defending, these guys are going to trap back, hopefully, into the box and help out your centre backs, and that is something that they absolutely employ to the highest degree. With the central defensive midfielders tracking back and getting into the box, really swarming the box and crowding it out, trying to prevent the opposition from playing out as much as possible. So they're both on the same instructions, both fairly similar type of players. You probably see Moutinho get forward a bit more than Neves, who really likes to play the role of that pivot in possession, but fairly similar. So we've got them both on cut passing lanes. That's very important. And then attacking support is stay back while attacking. You don't want them progressing too much. Instead, like as I just alluded to, they are going to be that pivot in possession. Defensive position for both of them is on cover wing. Naturally, you're going to need a little bit more support out there, having only playing wing back, so they'll have to be dragged out wide fairly often. But then positioning freedom for both of these is on free roam, and it's very, very important because this is going to allow you to get more movement in the central areas. Again, makes it easier to play out from the back and also they're going to show for the ball a lot more as well, hopefully, which is going to enable you to keep the ball moving, keep recycling possession, and just try and get the best out of them, really. Try and get them into the game as much as possible. What about with the attacking midfielder then, with Dendoncker? We've got him on come back on defence, as I've spoken about already, to replicate that box-to-box role. Come back on defence so that he's tracking back, and then get into the box of crosses for the support on crosses role as well. For his positioning freedom, he's going to be on stick to position, as you're really just looking to get him into those central areas as much as possible. I mean, more of that engine in midfield as opposed to that sort of intricate advanced type of player. So what about the two forwards then? We've gone for Jimenez and Hwang Hee-chan here. So Jimenez obviously playing the role of that target man. So as a result, with attacking runs, he's target man. They're going to try and play balls into him. He's going to try and hold it up, look to get players off him, back into players. That's what he does best. His support runs is on balanced, and then his defensive support is on stay forward. Which means that he's going to be that out ball as well. You can get the ball up to him quickly, should and when you need to. However, with the other forward, we have that more mobile, energetic forward who's going to help support the wide areas. So his support runs is drift wide, and he's going to be making runs into those, as I say, those wide areas to help support the wing backs. And to get him making those runs, you want him on getting behind as well, to make sure that he's trying to penetrate the back line as much as possible. And his defensive support is on come back on defence, just to help you, again, getting tracking back, help the team. You've got 10 men in that defensive unit, and just Jimenez really playing the role up front as that out ball if and when he needs to. So then, we've spoken about the 5-3-2. What about the 5-2-3 now? If I go onto this, you'll see there's a little bit of change. Formation wise, we went for the 3-4-2-1 and then changed the wide midfielders to wing backs. And then with these two wide players, you want them as left forward and as right forward. For anyone watching the gameplay, I switched to this system for the second half, so then you can see that one in action as well as the 5-3-2. So we've got, in this case, Hwang Hee-chan and Dendoncker. I'll actually take Dendoncker out here and we'll put Podence in if I can. Here we go. And then what we'll do is I'll actually switch Podence over to his right side and Hwang Hee-chan over to the left, and we'll tell you why when I come onto the player instructions very shortly. For the tactics, there are slight changes here, and this one is on the offensive width. This time we've moved this up to 80 from 70 to try and stretch the team out more. What the goal of doing this is you are trying to get those wingers drifting out more. Because they're right and left forward as opposed to right and left winger, you need to try and create an opportunity for them to come into those wide spaces more. And by increasing the width of your offensive shape, that is how you are one of the ways you are going to do it. The reason why we have these as right and left forward as opposed to right and left winger is, one, because of the work they do on the central areas of the pitch, particularly the half spaces. Two, because they're really acting as sort of second strikers to Jimenez. And you're often seeing them, not only getting into the box, but also coming from those more half central spaces. And also looking to help the two central midfielders out as much as possible. Because again, now that you're taking a central attacking midfielder away, you're a little bit lighter in that area. So that's why we have them as forwards as opposed to wingers. So with the player instructions then, there are a couple of changes. One, with the central midfielders, as you'll see, we've now got these on cover centre as opposed to cover wing. Because this time you've got those slightly wider players up front. You don't have an attack midfielder anymore, which means you're going to be looking for players, in this case the two central midfielders, to man the central areas. If and when you need to, you can manually drag them out, or you can bring out one of the wide centre backs as well to help you in that situation. But you are generally looking for these guys just to man those central areas of the pitch. So then, what about the two right and left forwards? Well, slightly different roles. On the right side, we've got someone who likes to play with the ball at his feet more and look to come to the ball, which is why we've got Podence here and then Hwang Hee-chan on the left side. So with him, we've still got him on drift wide so that he will come out and support the wing back on occasion, if and when he needs to. But his attacking runs is false 9, and this is going to get him dropping into those intricate advanced areas in between the defensive midfielders and the attackers, picking up the ball and looking to do his work from there. We know how good he is in those intricate tight spaces. Pedro Neto is another one who can do this role very well, looking to work with the ball, get the ball into them in those advanced areas, and produce work from there. His defensive support is also on comeback on defense as well, to try and get him tracking back if and when he needs to. On the left side, however, we've got someone, as I've spoken about, who's going to look to try and running behind and do their work off the ball. So it's still the same as what it would have been originally for Hwang Hee-chan. We've got him on drift wide, we've got him on getting behind as well, and we also have him tracking back and come back on defence. Jimenez, meanwhile, his instructions are the same. Elsewhere, for the rest of the team, all of the instructions absolutely fine. You don't need to change anything. They are what they would have been in the original formation. So I do hope that helps. Right then, on that note, we are ready to finish this video off then, guys. I'm going to show the gameplay after this as well, so do stick around for that. Lots of goals in this one, which doesn't really do justice to a defensive system, but there you go. If you have any questions about the tactic whatsoever, do let me know in the comment section and I'll get back to you. Any sort of suggestions, get at me, but if you want to vote, have a say on the next tactics video, then you know what to do. Check out my Patreon. You can get access to all the votes, where I'll put our votes for the next videos on the channel. On top of that, there's a whole range of other great perks, exclusive tactics videos, FIFA 22 custom tactics package, where I do rankings, ratings, deep dives on all the tactics. Whole range of other perks as well. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, link to that is in the description, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so that you get notifications every time I upload a video. On that note, we're going to finish it off there. Drop a like if you've enjoyed it, and until next time, I will see you soon.
Thank you. Wolverhampton Wanderers goal, number 26, Hawangi Chan. number 32, Leander Dendonka. Coming onto the pitch, number 10, Daniel Pollens. Leicester City goal, number 7, Harvey Barnes. Substitution for Leicester City. Coming off the pitch, number 37, Ademola Lookman. To be replaced by number 17, Ayois Perez. Goal for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Number 9, Raul Jimenez.